Well, a man who gives himself over to the music completely. You will have heard Nigel Kennedy stomping his feet during that performance, every fibre of him just completely engrossed in the music. Elgar's violin concerto played at the Proms by Nigel Kennedy with the BBC Concert Orchestra, conducted by Paul Daniel, the leader, Charles Musser. And a great connection between Paul Daniel and Nigel Kennedy. I watched them in rehearsal this morning, and afterwards Paul Daniel said Kennedy is one of the team. His music making starts and ends with the orchestra. He's just one of us. Well, it's a relationship of mutual enjoyment. Nigel Kennedy absolutely loves the Proms. He says he considers it to be the best music festival in the world. He's over the moon, he says, to be performing here tonight, and you can just see it. He can barely restrain himself. Nigel Kennedy rocking the Royal Albert Hall like only he knows how. Well, Paul, you might not like his offstage antics, but surely the musicianship must have grabbed you there, must have.
Well, that's what was interesting. What I was worried about, in a way, is that he would be in the spotlight between the music and the listener, if you like, you know. And when you read about him and his reputation, this is what you would let, you know, lead to believe. Not the case at all for me. You know, there was nothing about him being in the way, and all that stuff you see at the end there. It was almost like he was getting out of his system. You know, he kept it in while he was playing, and it was just about him and Elgar. So we were seeing Elgar. We weren't seeing Kennedy. We were hearing Elgar. And at the end, he got it out of his system a little bit. But before that, you know, he disappears. It's just the music. And I wasn't expecting that, and I did enjoy that very much.
And the amazing thing is he's sort of a musician's musician. I mean, you can see that the orchestra are totally on his side.
Yes.
I mean, utterly and totally. He's won them over before he's won them.
And that's something, as an outsider to classical music, sometimes you regret, that you don't get the feeling that they're all together. They're all individual. Absolutely. If they play the notes, the notes are there, they're beautiful, it doesn't matter. To be together, and as soon as he comes out on stage, you get that feeling.
Absolutely.
You bring in everybody together.
It had a symphonic feel, didn't it, the piece? But he just created this amazing contrast. I mean, there was drama, just this huge sense of enjoyment and excitement, but yet he drew the audience in. He had these wonderful quiet moments. He wasn't, you know, showy or anything. I think it was completely genuine, you know, this wonderful...
I mean, it was oddly modest in a way,
yes,
wasn't
it was,
You know, that was what was peculiarly
saturated with Kennedy and totally full of Elgar.
Yes.
Guys, we'll catch up with you in a little while. Let's go backstage now, where we're going to join Charles, who's with Nigel Kennedy.
Nigel, that was absolutely sensational. The Elgar, it's a piece you've been associated with for, I don't know, over 2 decades, and you still love it so much.
Well, there's something about this music, man, that you always find something new in it. You know, sometimes you start off like House on Fire, and it's like the first movement goes, and that's a killer. Tonight, I felt like, yeah, first movement was all right, but the work gradually built forward to, and like, culminated in the cadenza. You know, everyone played so nice in the orchestra, man.
It was inexorable. It was this kind of slow build, like the furnace, just grew and grew and grew.
It just felt like there was some point in the 54 minutes tonight, which was good. You know, a little bit of stress at the beginning, but like, and get into it. You know.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's one of the greatest violin concertos this country's ever produced. Do you feel that because you're English, it gives you a particular sort of insight into it?
I'd say that's a bit racist, but I think, you know, like, good music is international language, so I wouldn't say being English give me
I know what you
insight,
mean, and I'm certainly not making a racist point, but to me there's just something about the way Elgar writes that suits our kind of melancholy temperament.
You're melancholy?
I am, definitely.
You don't look at you smirking.
I'm smiling now because I just heard you playing. It was fantastic.
But I think there's something like a multi-dimensional aspect to the emotional arena of Elgar, which is maybe because he was English, but maybe just because he was an exceptional human being. And like the structure, obviously he's writing in a romantic genre, but the structure and the architecture is a big step forward to what would be typical romantic music.
I love the relationship that you build with orchestras, that you insist on plenty of time to really kind of get below the surface, because there's too much music making which is kind of very tasteful but kind of pasteurised, and you don't go in for that.
Well, I prefer to have a personal approach, and like, you know, Charles was saying, he thought, what are we going to do?
Charles Mutter, the leader.
Yeah, Charles Mutter, the leader, was saying, what are we going to do with 9 hours? And he's saying, man, we really enjoyed it, it just went by like that. And I think if a group of musicians get a personal relationship, then they can do a personal interpretation. And you can't get a personal relationship in 5 minutes, can we, darling?
You're absolutely right. Look, a lot of people make a lot of noise about the fact that you play so-called classical music, you also play so-called jazz music, and you play lots of other types of music in between, as if somehow that this was like a split personality thing. But to me, and I don't know if you share this, it seems to me that maybe they're just slightly different clothes, but on the same body. They're a manifestation of the same basic story you want to tell.
Well, yeah, Duke Ellington said, well, it's a great composition if it's a great composition, and it's a composition whether it was composed 10 hours premeditation or 1 minute premeditation or 2 seconds premeditation. That's still a composition. Coleman Hawkins, when he's playing Body and Soul, that's a new composition. So, you know, for me, I don't have any bias towards that, and I do enjoy the spontaneous aspects of music. So going into jazz helped me a lot in that.
Exactly, you've been doing it all the way along, haven't you? Even ever since those very early days with Grappelli.
Yeah, I was a brat with Stefan, which was an amazing experience because he had a totally different approach to what Yehudi Menuhin did, who was my other, so to speak, mentor. You know, so it's wonderful to see a guy who practiced 5 minutes a day achieve such amazing results. Not that I've taken up that formula, but like, you know, Yehudi was obviously practicing very seriously and doing all the yoga stuff. Stefan would prefer to smoke a spliff and have like a glass of brandy.
Talk to me a bit about the quintet that you work with. Amazing bunch of Polish musicians who you're going to be playing with very shortly on the Albert Hall stage.
Man, I've got like such a great band, and they all come in from the jamming situations I've found in Krakow. And I thought, well, I like that drummer. And another night I played with a bass player, and I thought, I like that bass player. So I've got like Pavel Dobrovolsky on drums, who plays with, oh man, I've forgotten all the names now because I've just still got Elgo in my head and it's done my head in. But like, he played with Anna Maria Jopek, a great Polish singer, and like, Adam Kowalewski, who've been playing with Jarek Śmietana. They're all from like, they're the young lions of the Polish jazz scene. Piotrek Wilżow, who's like a fantastic player with a trio of his own. They've all got separate projects, so they all come in with a special energy.
But there's one very special guest you've got tonight, who I saw you rehearsing with this morning. Just a small guitarist, incidentally. How'd that come about?
I mean, that is like a right an amazing situation, man, if we're allowed to say that after 10 o'clock on the TV. Well. But like, you know, yeah, Jeff Beck, I've been meeting up a couple of times with Jeff, and like, then I thought, why not ask him to play on this song called Hills of Saturn, which is just up his street. So he came up to John Henry's the other night. We had a thrash through it. He playing like an angel, man. An angel of evil. He's phenomenal, man. When he just touches that guitar, he's just putting it into the amp with no effects, and it sounds like amazing. Just like what B.B. King would put his guitar in with no effects, straight into the amp. That's what Jeff Becker's got. He's got his own sound. No one can duplicate that. It's going to be a great experience. Well, I mean, you can't count the chickens, but I think it's going to be a great experience.
Look, I'm in no doubt about that. I heard the rehearsal this morning. I think it's going to set the Albert Hall on fire. Nigel, thank you so much. Congratulations thus far, and good luck for the next one.
Well, thanks, man. Apparently that's what we've got the passes for, is so that no one can come in here and set the Albert Hall on fire. Yeah, man.
Go well, man.
All right, man. Cheers, Charlie, mate. Good on you, man. Proper.
The ever effusive Nigel Kennedy. Phil, you heard him talking there. To me, Kennedy is always at his best when he's talking about music and when he's inside the music. That's what he's best at.
Yeah, well, he's so passionate about what he does, and he believes it. And whether you love him or hate his actual style of how he conducts himself when he's talking, you honestly know that he believes every project he throws himself into. For that reason, he's completely genuine.
Jen, as a musician, what do you think that it is that's so unique about what Kennedy does?
Well, I think it's absolutely right what he was saying about exploring other aspects of music and how that can help your classical performance. He was talking about spontaneity, and he has this incredible freedom in his performance, and also integrating with other players. That's a key part of jazz, and you could just see tonight that he was, they were playing as one, really.
Well, now to the other love in Nigel Kennedy's life. It's jazz, of course. Well, not just jazz, because to be honest, he's got his influences from the world of rock as well.
I started playing the classical music because it's also music that I love, but it was never a plan.
Perhaps musically the most adventurous of our youngsters, particularly because he's lost his heart to Stefan Grappelli, and I rather approve of that.
I believe it's perfectly possible that someone can play jazz and classical music and that they'll both help each other.